Brand new and super exciting Prepper Pantry finds today, because we all know beans and rice can keep you alive, but variety saves your sanity. Hey guys, it's Jara with Wicked Prepared. Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm sharing a Prepper Pantry haul, and I have found some brand new items that I am super excited to share, as well as some basic staples that everyone needs in their stockpile. After I show you what we've added to our Prepper Pantry, I'm going to test some of them out on camera to see if they're a Prepper Pantry game changer or a food storage fail. Let's jump right in and get started. I've got so much exciting stuff to show you today. I'm going to start right over here on this side, and I've got this bottle of emergency drinking water. This actually comes as a case of 12 dozen bottles. I've just got one up here to show you. When I looked at these online, this is something that's pretty new to my radar. When I saw these online, I thought they were much smaller than they are. So this is a liter, which is about the size of a quart, slightly bigger than a quart. So it's a pretty big bottle. I don't know if you can tell the way that I'm holding it, but these are specifically designed for long-term storage and long-term shelf life. So this has got a 20-year shelf life, and there's a lot of things that make this different. So it's definitely, it starts off, it's completely bacteria-free. Like the biggest competitor to this, Purify, which means pure water in a couple of different languages, the biggest nearest competitor was tested at 3,300 or so CFUs of bacteria per milliliter, and this water tested as 0. So it starts off with 0 bacteria, and then it is sealed really, really well, like triple sealed. So it does have this plastic tamper-proof seal so that you know it hasn't been tampered with. And then it has this click-on lid so that it's reusable if you needed to reuse it after you opened it. But inside of this lid, there is an induction seal. So it's completely sealed. There is no seams anywhere. So there's no way for this to water to leak out or bacteria to get in. And the material is very, very strong. Like I can't squeeze this like I can with a regular water bottle. So you could drop this, you know, this could be thrown around and it would not break open and get damaged. So, and of course, it's not a clear container, because anything clear, you can have problems with algae. If it's glass, you have problems with breakage. This is very, very strong, not going to break. This does, even though it's heavy and it's full up to the brim, it does float if it's in water. So if you have a flood, you don't have to worry about it getting just buried or flooded away or contaminated, because nothing from your flood water is going to get into it, and it's going to float so you can find it. So it's definitely important to have water filters in your preps, but it's also important to have stored water, and as much as you possibly have the room to store, because you don't always know if you're going to have a source of water to filter. And even if you know where there is a source, it's not guaranteed that you're going to be able to get to it, or it's going to be safe or reasonable to go to your source of water. So stored water is definitely important. And you need to rotate your water. Like I always buy the little water bottles, the crinkly ones that you can crinkle, and we use them because they're going to start leaking within, a year or two, if that. So we have to rotate through those. So this is going to eliminate the need to rotate as much because of the 20-year shelf life and the fact that it's designed for storage. Like I mentioned, this is sold in a 12-pack case, but they also sell it in a pallet, and it comes out, if I did the math correctly, it comes out to about half the price per case if you buy the pallet, but of course that's a huge purchase all at once. So I think I'm going to just buy it case at a time. They do have a subscribe and save program, so I think for us, like putting a case on a subscribe and save, getting a case a month is going to be a good way to gradually build up, and then making sure that I have enough extra things on my subscribe and save to get the free shipping at $100. But, tax return time, I think there are a lot of people who do like to stock up on a whole bunch all at once and not have to do it little by little. I'm more of a little by little person, but they do have the palette of the waters as well. Next, I've got this. This is an AeroPress. So this is for making coffee if you are a coffee drinker, but it doesn't require any kind of electricity. So it's a very off-grid, power outage friendly way. I've had my eye on these for a long, long time, and I finally broke down and got one because I think they're also going to be really good for traveling, and we're going to be traveling. So all you have to do is heat your water, and we do, of course, have our butane stove that we use inside. I will show how this works a little bit later in the video, but you just need to heat your water and use your ground coffee, and it brews cup by cup directly into your mug. So if you're a coffee drinker, I do think this is a really good off-grid tool to have. You could even use this every day in place of a coffee maker, especially if you're the only coffee drinker in your house and you don't necessarily need a whole pot. maybe you're trying to get away from K-cups, something a little bit more environmentally friendly. So I will try this out a little bit later in the video. Next, I've got some freeze-dried meats here, and these are in number 10 cans. So this is really exciting because these are a brand new product that, you know, they haven't had meats before, and that was under popular demand. Everybody was asking for meats because everyone wants to have more protein in their prepper pantry. These are the 3 most popular freeze-dried meats. So we've got ground beef and diced chicken and sausage crumbles. So I will open these up a little bit later in the video and try these out because I know a lot of people are curious about these. Freeze-dried meats have a shelf life of 25 years when they're in these cans. And then once you open them, they usually have a shelf life of about a year, give or take. It depends on a lot of different things, but I've had them, you know, open and around and fine for longer than that. So the shelf life and the texture are 2 things that really attract people to freeze-dried meats. They're not going to have, you know, the texture that a canned meat would have, especially when you look at ground meats like ground beef and ground sausage. And because these are brand new this month, these are on sale. They are the January specials. And so right now you can get, I think 10% off a can if you buy it by itself, and then an extra 10% if you use Subscribe and Save, or you can get 20% off if you buy the value pack that has all 3. And of course, an extra 10% off that when you choose Subscribe and Save as well. Now, if you have a lot of number 10 cans, you have got to have one of these can openers. I will show you a little bit later how this works. It's got a crank handle. I don't know if you can see that. So a lot of people might have a hard time with a regular can opener, especially as people start to get older and maybe get arthritis and stuff. But I've never had that trouble except with number 10 cans. They're actually so much harder to open, even with a can opener that I don't have trouble with normally. So I had been wanting to try one of these for a while. I found it on sale or on clearance, so I grabbed it, and I cannot wait to show you how this works. One more thing I got from the same site, they've got a lot of these Mountain House freeze-dried meals on clearance for a really, really good price. And this brand is really good. We have tried quite a few of these. A lot of people like them. They are good. These are really good to have on hand because you just boil water, pour it in, and you've got yourself a meal after it sets for 10-15 minutes. These are technically 2 servings. If you are one very hungry person, this is probably going to be 1 serving for you. But if you are, you know, a couple of people with smaller appetites, you could definitely get 2 servings out of this. They're just super handy because you can have a good meal really easily without a lot of stress. They're also great for, of course, camping and backpacking, which is, I think, what they probably were originally intended for, but we use them for travel as well. We throw them in our suitcase. We can make them up in a hotel room. We've got a collapsible kettle that will boil our water, and we can make these up in a hotel room. It saves us a lot of money over having to eat at a restaurant or order food or something like that. You can get all of these items, including the can opener and the purified water, the number 10 cans, and these meals, all on the same site, which is awesome because most sites have, you know, free shipping at $99 or $100. So you can find a lot of items on the same site that you might want. So it's easy to, you know, get to that threshold and get free shipping. To me, that's a no-brainer. And they have, like I mentioned, this is in the clearance section, and they have a whole bunch of amazing clearance deals and really good clearance stuff. It starts off with some winter gear, which is actually really good. But if you're not looking for winter gear, scroll on down past that because it looks like it's all winter gear, but there's a lot of stuff like these down below. So scroll on down past that. And there's other sales that are not in the clearance section. Like the can opener, I don't think is in the clearance, but it was on sale. So I'm going to put a link for you down below, and I'm also going to give you a code on the screen for those of you who can't access the description. And this is to the Thriveless site, which carries all of these items. And there's something brand new on the site that I would love you to go check out. A lot of people were used to with Thrive Life, they could go to the website and they could see that they were shopping with me because my name and my picture were at the top of the page. And a lot of people just wanted to make sure that they were shopping with me if they were my people, that I would get credit for anything that they purchased, and that they would have access to, you know, my help if they needed help, if they had questions, things like that. And we actually found a lot of people over the years who, for some reason or other, were not attached to me, who really wanted to be, so they were able to call or email and get that fixed. So if you are my peeps, and if you're here watching this, you are definitely my peeps, then go over to the website and just make sure that you see my name whenever you're looking around there. A few more freeze-dried items that I grabbed because they were on sale. There's a 30% off sale going on these through the end of January, which is fantastic. This is a lot of fruits and produce and some really snack related items. We love this coconut. It is so delicious. It is amazing. Makes a great addition to snack mixes. The figs and the seasoned corn that you see, those are new products, and we got them and tried them and really liked them. The seasoned corn is delish to snack on. It's good on salads. The figs, I did not know, are a superfood. They are super tasty, and I actually gave a lot of the bags I had bought away as gifts. So I wanted to buy some more. And then this bag down here is huge. You can't really tell so much in the video probably, but where these are 1 ounce bags, they have 1 ounce inside. And keep in mind when you're looking at freeze-dried food, it's super, super light. It's ultra light because they've taken out all the water. So it weighs like maybe a fourth of what it would when it was fresh. But these 8 ounce bags are huge. This actually has, like, I took a look at an Augustin Farms number 10 can, which is a gallon size can of strawberries, and it only contained like 6 point something ounces. This bag contains 8 ounces. Freeze-dried strawberries are one of my kids' favorite snacks. Plus I use them in things like desserts, meals in a jar, breakfast meals in a jar, smoothies, things like that. So this was a great deal to get these 30% off. And because it's a big bag, I will open this up and I will portion this out into smaller mason jars for snacking and things like that, just so that they stay at their ultimate freshness. Now I've got some sort of health and wellness related items and snacks and things from the wellness store. That's definitely something that's a big part of preparedness, is being just at your best personal health, so that if something does happen, you're able to face the challenges. So this is a brand new product, pure creatine powder. Now this is something I had actually just recently been talking about with my brother, and I always thought of it as something that's just for people who worked out. So when I saw this product, I had to look it up, and I said, is there any benefits for creatine to a woman over a certain age? I will not say the age. I actually just had a birthday. We're not going to talk about how old I am, but I said, is there any benefit for a woman over a certain age who does not work out? Because I don't do a lot of working out. I just don't have time as much as I wish that I did. And what I found actually really surprised me. And I wrote this down because I wanted to be able to remember all the details. So I found that there are definitely a lot of benefits for women over my age who do not work out, or women over a certain age. It fights against age-related muscle loss. It strengthens bones and improves cognitive function, which is something I'm always looking for, because it gets rid of fatigue and brain fog in older women, or probably in anyone actually. It increases cellular energy, supports mood, memory, and metabolic health. I was amazed to read that. I'm like, I have to start taking this stuff. When I read that, it says it improves brain energy metabolism, memory, processing speed, and focus, reduces inflammation, maintains physical strength and muscle throughout age, combats fatigue and depression, helps with hormonal shifts, so many things, may assist with blood sugar regulation and overall energy. And a lot of what I read said that a dose of 5 grams daily is what's recommended and safe. But then I found new research that suggested a higher dose is both safe and beneficial, because basically it gets past your muscles. So it can reach all the rest of those parts of your body, your bone, your brain, your other tissues, and be very, very beneficial. So instead of being the ceiling, that 5 grams ends up being a starting point, and 8 to 10 grams a day is going to be a new standard for all of those benefits. So I'm really, really excited to try this. When I went and checked it out, I was actually shocked at how inexpensive this was. I think because it is just the pure creatine. It's not mixed into any other kind of shake or drink with anything, which is what I like. It's just literally the creatine. There's not going to be any other sugar, carbs, anything else, just the supplement. And the member price on the wellness store for that was insanely low. And I would never buy anything without a membership. It's kind of one of those no-brainers that, you just get the membership, you pay much lower price. And then if you need to, you just pause the membership if you're not going to buy, for a while. So it's just kind of a no-brainer. So I'm really excited to get started with taking this. And because it's unflavored, it's plain, I can put it into anything, that I'm drinking. So I'm excited about that. And then we've got our Fiber-Wise. So this is a regular supplement that we take, and that is super, super, super incredible for gut health. It has really, really made such a huge difference for both of us. This is the plain, which has no flavor, and it's mostly meant for like baking and things like that. People to add to, oatmeal, batters, doughs, to boost up the fiber and stuff. And then most people drink the flavored one. So this is a berry that Mr. Wicked Prepared drinks. I personally would rather just skip out on the extra 1 or 2 carbs that's in the flavored. and just drink the plain. But it makes such an amazing difference for gut health and everything. It's an amazing supplement. I split mine into 2 doses and take half earlier in the day, half later in the day. It's got all sorts of different sources of fiber. It's got gut soothing botanicals, and it's got probiotics. So it's really amazing. It's made a huge difference in both of our health. If you do take a product like this, you just want to be careful not to take it within an hour or 2 of your supplements. Most especially if your supplements include like a fish oil or some kind of an omega supplement, because this will kind of absorb and bond with all those fats and just flush it right out of your body, which is really good for most things. But with something like a beneficial fat that you're taking on purpose, you don't want it to just flush it out of your body. And when you take your other supplements, vitamins and minerals, some of them rely on fat to be absorbed. So you want to make sure that when you're taking those supplements, your body does have some fat to be able to absorb them. And so you just avoid taking this product within an hour or 2 of a supplement on either side, which is not a really big deal. It is okay to take it before a meal because it can really help kind of fill you up and keep you full and not help you not eat as much, and help like just flush all those extra fats and stuff out of your body. I did a demo on how it does that and how much better it is than other types of fiber. So I'll try to link to that down below in case you're interested. And then a few snacky items. It's definitely important to have snacks in your prepper pantry. That is one thing that most people do not have enough of and wish they had more of when they end up in a situation where they're eating completely out of their preps. These are little kind of nut and fruit clusters. I love these. These are so delicious, and they're so clean in the ingredients. They literally just have some nuts and seeds. They don't have like any kind of bad sweeteners, no artificial sweeteners, no corn syrup. It's just brown rice syrup, cane sugar, a little bit of Himalayan salt, coconut, and the nuts and fruits. And so they're fairly low in carbs. They do have, a little bit more than I typically eat, but I just have a very small serving of these, and I feel much better having a little bit of, real healthy sugars from fruit and from those other healthy sweeteners than I do from having, something else. And this is a 2-pack. You'll see that's a common theme with a lot of my wellness store products because they offer a deal usually on buying a multi-pack. And I am all about getting the best deal that I can. Here is another snack that is something new that we were trying. So this is a chewy protein bar, cookies and cream. So it's a brand new flavor. I've heard it's really good. If you're going to have snacks, and then you might as well have something with a little bit of extra protein. It's pretty low in net carbs. Like if I'm going to give my kids a sweet treat, I'd rather them have something like this with protein and good stuff in it rather than just, junky stuff. So we're just going to try these. It is kind of similar to like a Quest bar or something like that. And I cannot wait to try these. They look really good. Next, I got a couple more bottles of the Harvest Pure Fruit and Veggie Wash. A lot of people have seen me do a demo with this that was like completely mind-blowing. I'll try to link to that one as well. This stuff, I would not eat fresh produce without cleaning it with this first. It's really, really amazing. And you just use a teeny capful. So we do not go through this very quickly. Just a capful in a colander of water that I'm washing my fruit and veggies in. But I do like to keep plenty on hand. And this was a special sale that came up when I was checking out, and it was a 2-pack. So I figured I'd grab it while I was on sale, even though I do have quite a few bottles stashed downstairs. I would rather grab it at a lower price whenever I can so that I never have to buy it at a regular price. That's kind of my trick with shopping just about anywhere. You'll see a lot of things that I purchase on sale because I would much rather, especially if it's something that can sit and be shelf stable, I would rather pay less for it, buy it when it's on sale, rather than wait until I actually need it and maybe pay more. Next, I got several bags of coffee. This is a really good coffee. This actually weaned us off of our Keurig. We still use the Keurig, but we kept hearing people, all of our friends who shop with the wellness store were telling us how good this coffee was. And we couldn't try it because we used the Keurig. And they don't have K-Cups. They just have ground and whole beans. So finally, I had tried those reusable K-Cups before and it didn't really do it for me, but we looked around and found one that we thought would work. And we started buying this coffee and we really, really, really love it. And this Pacific blend is our favorite. Mr. Wicked Prepared drinks his coffee black with nothing in it. So he really, really notices the flavor of any coffee he's drinking much more than I do even. So this is the one that he really likes so far. But we did get other flavors because we're trying to try them all to make sure that that's still our favorite before we just start buying. So we got the hazelnut flavored one and then organic breakfast blend back there. And next, the last thing here, a couple more things from our wellness store order for the month. These are the GC Control shakes that both Mr. Wicked Prepared and I both use. He likes the strawberry and I like the caramel creme brulee, although I've been drinking cinnamon roll this month, and I really like the cinnamon roll too, so I'll have to get some more of that. But this, I was using it kind of like a meal replacement protein shake, but it's really not. If you see, it's got 10 grams of protein, which is not really significant compared to like an actual protein shake, but it's really to help control blood sugar and control cravings, and it's worked so well for us for that. Like when Mr. Wicked Prepared, we drink it right shortly before a meal, so shortly before lunch, and he has noticed a huge difference days that he has it and days that he doesn't for some reason. Like after his meal, if he drinks the shake before, he avoids having that crash, that energy crash after. And I notice if I have it before I have my lunch and then I have my lunch, I'm good for the rest of the afternoon. I don't crave snacks and things like that like I do if I don't have it. So it definitely helps with blood sugar, weight management, cravings, and things. And like I mentioned, being in your top physical condition is really important for preparedness. And this is a really good time to be working on that to get into our top peak physical health. And if you've got something that your body is kind of used to having and you feel better with that, you're going to want to have extra and make sure you have plenty of that so that if something happens, an emergency or just a supply chain, hiccup, that you don't run out of those things when you really need them. And then back here, just one more package of things that's for sleep. So this is a sleep supplement, this Rest Easy, that doesn't have that's got more natural sleep enhancing ingredients. And then this is a magnesium drink that you can drink before bed for relaxation and help with sleep. My kids love this. And we actually earned this for free. They have all sorts of free sort of gifts that you can earn and stuff, which is really pretty awesome. That's another way to save money as well. Switching a bunch of our everyday shopping, like these items, to the Wellness Shop Club has been the best decision. We've found so many better, safer products that we love for so many different areas of our home and even our preps. We love the quality and the safer formulas, but one of my favorite things is that they're all American made by a company that values family and actually cares about their customers, and they flat out refuse to sell out to the big conglomerates. I know that many of you out there in our community value these same things just like we do. And I love that so many have joined us in supporting better, safer, American-made products and taking back market share from the mega corporations and those pulling the puppet strings. It's spending our same dollars, only smarter. If this is something that's important to you too, visit shopabetterway.com to find out more or start switching your shopping. Back here, before I move on, I've got 2 of these Mylar pouches of dehydrated Great Northern beans. So these are instant beans. If you watch the channel much at all, you'll hear me talk about instant beans a lot because they've been cooked and dehydrated. They're kind of like minute rice. They just have to soak up the hot water. They maybe cook for 5 minutes, or you can usually just pour boiling water on them. And they cook so much faster and easier than regular dry beans. So they're much more appropriate for the prepper pantry, and they're great for meals in a jar. So I use them for meals in a jar all the time. So I've been using a lot of these Great Northern beans. So I needed to restock. So it's 2 quart size bags. And this company is actually having a 30% off sale also going on through the end of the month. This is a different website, but they have a similar sale. It's not on everything, just on certain things, but I will put a link so that you can go check it out. And grab some stuff while it's on sale. Now here I've got a bunch of brand new items that I was really excited to try. This one right here is hot off the presses. This is literally the first day it was available as I'm filming this. So it's these cup noodles, but it's limited time, limited edition flavors based on hot wings. And I think this is probably because the Super Bowl will be coming up, and this is the time of year that a lot of that is in the media and in the stores and stuff. Now, of course, these cup noodles are not a very healthy option. We all know that, but most of us have eaten them at one point or another. And a lot of people do like to keep them on hand for their prepper pantry because they are so easy to make and they're comforting. So they're full of carbs and sodium, which is things you really need when your body is under stress and you need energy. Basically, you just have to boil water and pour it in, and then you're going to have a meal that, in an emergency situation, this could be great. I also crave these kind of things when I'm not feeling well. This is kind of like my comfort food, something like this. So I just wanted to try these new flavors. We've got garlic Parmesan. We have got buffalo ranch, spicy buffalo ranch, and lemon pepper. So I thought they would be interesting to try. Let the family try them, see how they are, and if they are good, we can buy a few more to keep in the pantry for just in case. One thing you want to be careful of with products like this is you do need to rotate these after a few years because of the oils and the fats in them, they will actually go rancid a lot faster than, say, a plain pasta. Next, I found these. These are new. These are Uncle Ben's different rice cups. So these, they do give microwave instructions, but these all include like minute rice basically. So I have always been able to just pour boiling water into these type of cups, and it usually works just fine. So I'm going to try these out and make sure that that does work fine, but that makes them great for emergencies. They're great for smaller families or single people who might not be able to finish a whole like rice-a-roni box or, you know, nor rice pouch or something. These are a smaller single serving, but you could definitely split them up with 2 people, especially people with smaller appetites. And if you included a few other things like some, you know, canned meat or a pouch of chicken or something to make it more like a meal. So we've got jasmine rice, Spanish rice, fried rice, and roasted chicken flavored rice. We would also use these as side dishes, snacks, like anytime we have leftover like taco meat, the kids want burritos, they want rice with it. So if it's just a little bit of taco meat, I might just want a little bit of rice that's just fast. So that's the best when you can find items that are prepper pantry appropriate that would be great for emergencies, but you'll also have another reason to use them so you can keep things rotated easily. This Spanish style rice I had the hardest time with. For some reason, I guess my store doesn't carry it, and so they had to ship it to me. And the first one that came, let's see, where is it? It was split open. The lid was not sealed, and there was rice and stuff in the bottom of the box. So I submitted for a return. I said I would like a replacement. And the second one that came looked like this. And I couldn't really find where it was unsealed, but because I can see the powder on the outside of the container, I'm assuming it is compromised somewhere. So I let them know again. And after the second time, they will not send a replacement. They just gave me a refund, but I was able to order it again. And this one came unscathed. So pretty happy about that. So I'll be trying these out. And then I've got these, which I believe are all new. I'd never seen these before. These were also Ibotta deals. So I either got 50 cents or $1 off of these each can with Ibotta. Make sure to check the description below if you don't have Ibotta, because it's a great way to save money on a lot of stuff. And there's actually several items up here that I used Ibotta on. I maybe didn't mention it on all of them, but so they had all these different varieties of new canned vegetables that have seasonings and stuff in them, which I think that is great because it's going to give you variety. So you're not going to get food fatigue, get sick of eating the same thing over and over. But I think it also can probably, they could be used in recipes and things. And anytime that you've got the extra seasonings already added, it's one more thing you didn't have to add to your recipe. So that's pretty cool. So they have this Mexican style street corn, which I thought was really cool. I love Mexican street corn flavored anything. They had this Cajun style diced potatoes, which I think could be really good. I have done a recipe where I fried up some Spam cubes with just some plain diced potatoes from a can. That was amazing. So I think if I add some Spam cubes to this Cajun diced potatoes with peppers or whatever it's got in there, I think that will be really fantastic. I don't know if it has the peppers in it or if it's just showing it that way. Serving suggestion, it may not. Then they had these no soy teriyaki green beans. I'm not sure how they make teriyaki without soy sauce, but somehow they do. So that's going to be exciting to try. That could be a great side dish with some sort of Asian kind of dish, or, you know, thrown right into a dish. And then they had these hot honey carrots, which I thought was really exciting. We like glazed carrots and honey glazed carrots, and we like hot honey. So kind of combining that into one, I think is really interesting. I don't know how I ended up with 4 of the Cajun potatoes and only 1 of the hot honey carrots. I'm assuming this one maybe isn't sold at my store. Maybe this one got shipped to me also, and I only got 1. And then this was another one, Del Monte Fruit Delights. So I'd never seen these before. So they've got these. Now, let me just say one thing. Canned vegetables and fruits are usually like a really good kind of low budget option for your prepper pantry. Canned goods are going to stay good many, many, many years past their best by dates, as long as the can isn't compromised, if it doesn't get rusted or, you know, badly dented to where it can compromise the can. So they're usually really inexpensive, but because these are Del Monte and they're like a specialty item, they weren't that cheap. So it's not something I would typically buy, but I did want to try them where they're new and tell you guys what I thought of them. And I did have the rebates, 50 cents off the vegetables and $1 off the fruits, I think. So, but just keep in mind, they are a little bit more spendy, but they're still pretty inexpensive compared to a lot of things. So they had the brown sugar sliced peaches, salted caramel sliced pears, and cinnamon sliced pears. So I thought that those would be interesting to try as well. Now back here, I've got something. I was amazed with this. This actually has nothing to do with preparedness, but because I was so amazed with this, I wanted to show you all. My dad had one of these on Christmas Eve when I was there, and when I saw him use it, I was like, that is the coolest thing I've ever seen. I've got to have one. Now I have one of these microwave covers that, you know, I like to use to keep it from spattering in my microwave. And it's always, it's bulky. There's not a good place to store it. So I usually have it tucked way up in that high cabinet above my stove where I can't reach it. It's a pain in the butt to get it out. When I'm trying to get it out, I knock stuff down because I can't reach it and it's bulky. So this is basically the same thing, but it is collapsible. So it collapses down flat. But not only that, it has got microwave safe magnets built into the top of it. So it will stick right up to the top of your microwave. As long as your microwave is flat and magnetic, which I think most of them are, it will stick right up there, and then you just pull it down when you need it. So I was like, that is the coolest thing I've ever seen. I was amazed with that. Now my dad had his collapsed down flat and stuck on the top of his microwave, but what the instructions actually say is that you could just put the whole thing back up without collapsing it, and or you can collapse it if you want to store it somewhere else, like maybe you want to stick it, you know, between your microwave and the wall or something. But so I'm not sure what I will do, but I just thought that was the coolest thing I had ever seen. Maybe that's being a little over dramatic, but I thought it was cool. Next, I have got these jars. Now, I actually found these in the holiday clearance section of Dollar General, which I don't go in very often anymore, but I happened to be in there and I saw these. I got a bunch of them because they were on clearance. They're super cute. So these are like mason jars. They're like pint-sized jars, but they've got these cute lids. So this has a house in the trees scene, and that's what's on the front of the jar as well. And then this one just has snowflakes on the lid and a snowman on the front. So it says that it is food safe, but it says not to have like a lot of temperature changes. So even though it does have a 2-piece lid that does have a button that pops, I'm pretty sure these are not safe for canning, but I thought they would be great for things like gifts in a jar, even small meals in a jar. Like if you cut a quart jar in half and put it into a pint jar, like those are not heat sealed. So anything like that, I thought they would be really, really great for, you know, maybe for next Christmas. I will probably put them away, but honestly, these two scenes between snowflakes and a snowman and a house in the snowy woods, that's not just Christmas to me. That could be used all winter long. So I just thought those were super, super cute for the price. Another clearance item I found, this one at Walmart. This is a sherry cooking wine, which I actually use cooking wine a lot. I love cooking with wine. So this was something I use, and it was marked down to $2, which is awesome. And there was an Ibotta deal for, I think, 75 cents off, which meant these would have been $1.25, and they're normally $3.48. And it's something that I use regularly. So, and it will stay good for a very long time. So I bought a couple of those. I was super excited to find those. Just a couple of seasonings here. I love Kinder's. This is a buttery garlic and herb that I thought sounded good. And while I was looking around at that, I found this Great Value buttery herb seasoning, which also sounded really good. So I love having different seasonings. I'm kind of mildly obsessed with seasonings, and it's really great for your prepper pantry because you want to be able to season up your shelf stable food many different ways to make many different meals. Like I said, you don't want to get food fatigue. A couple of Ensure high protein shakes, 42 grams. These I got for free from Ibotta. They have freebies all the time. This is a good item for the prepper pantry because of the protein and because it's like a meal replacement. So they're just good to have on hand if the power was out and you needed something really quick and you didn't even have a way to heat or cook. These would be a great option, and free is always good. Another thing you could do with something like this is donate them or give them to a relative if you had somebody. I think they're actually meant for, elderly people, but anybody could drink these. A couple more seasonings here. I've got a thing of Hidden Valley Ranch bulk seasoning. I usually use one that I get at Save-A-Lot, but I am using some ranch seasoning in a meal in a jar soon. I've been recipe testing, and I know not everyone has a Save-A-Lot, and I don't know if the seasonings taste the same and have the same saltiness level. So I figured I would test my recipe with a brand that is pretty much the well-known brand that anybody could get, and that most of the other brands probably are trying to copy. So I got a thing of this to use for my recipe testing. This is a rice seasoning. It's called furikake. I don't really know what this is, but it's got some sesame seeds and seaweed, and I got it for a recipe, and I like those kind of tastes, so I thought this would be interesting. I also got this Kewpie mayonnaise. So this is like a Japanese mayonnaise, I think. It's interesting because it was in this, I got it right at Walmart, but it's in this bag, and then the bottle inside the bag. And you can feel the bottle is very flexible. Like, it is not strong at all. It almost feels like a plastic pouch. It's like halfway in between a rigid mayonnaise squeeze bottle and a plastic pouch. But I think this is supposed to have a little bit of a different flavor. And I got it for a recipe for like a low carb kind of sushi salad type of thing that I found in a weight loss challenge group that I'm in that looked really good. So I wanted to get this to try that. These bags of pistachios, this is a pretty big bag, I don't know if you can tell, 11 ounces. It's a large bag, and these were limited edition for Christmas because I found them in the Christmas clearance section at like 75% off. So I think it was about $2.50 for each of these large bags of pistachios, which are usually pretty expensive. And we love nuts, and nuts is a good prepper pantry snack to keep on hand. As long as you rotate them every few years. But pistachios isn't one that I've had a lot of trouble with them going rancid. Some nuts store better than others. So always check your holiday clearance sections for things that are not just decorations. Like, people sometimes think it's just going to be decorations and things like that, but there's always food items that you can find. Next, I've got a few more sets of my canisters, and I did open up and take some out to be able to show you. I love these canisters. I've been using them for years and years. I get a ton of people asking me about them. So whenever I do get a new set, I usually will open up and talk about them. So they're super easy to open and close with this, and they have a gasket seal. I like that you can see inside of them, so you see how much you have. If it's something that's a healthy snack, like freeze-dried strawberries, for instance, my kids are going to see them. They're going to be more likely to go for that snack. I like these that are rectangular, that are going to be the most efficient because they can take up the whole shelf front to back. So I don't have to put a double row and hide things behind other things. This set that I bought in the boxes comes with these 3 sizes, and this smallest size doesn't come any other way. It's not sold separately. So I always buy that set. This middle size is my most commonly used size. I think it's 11 cups, but I also use these quite a bit, and I can't get them on their own. It's also cheaper to buy the set than to buy them individually. The bigger ones here are really good for things like pastas. So people always ask me, are these airtight? They're not as air and moisture tight as like a mason jar is going to be. They're pretty air and moisture tight, but for certain things that are very sensitive to that, then if you store it in there for, a while, then it's going to get a little bit of moisture, and especially with opening and closing of the lid. So I store pastas in these all the time. I do store my freeze-dried food in these. The only items I've really ever had issues with is those things you might snack on, like strawberries, raspberries, apples, peaches, things that you're going to want to snack on. They can lose that crispness after a while. So what I will tend to do is put some items like that into smaller mason jars, like what would be a single serving for my kids, maybe a half pint or a quarter pint. And then what's left in the canisters, if it does start to get less than crisp and it's not enjoyable to snack on fresh, then I will use them in a smoothie or a dessert, something like a pie or a cobbler that you cook, it's fine in those. So some things like chips and crackers, when I've stored them in here for longer, then, if they don't get eaten right up within a week or two, they will sometimes get stale. So these are great for a lot of things. They're not perfect for everything, especially if it's a longer term. But if it's stuff like, this is my working pantry stuff, this is stuff that I'm using, so it usually doesn't sit in there too good. But I have had pasta and things like that in these for years, and it's fine. Back here, I've got a couple of pastas. I think pasta is a very, very, very good prepper pantry item. It's inexpensive. Most people like it. And, it cooks up pretty quickly and easily. It cooks faster than beans or rice. It gives you some good carbs for energy. You can get it gluten-free if you need to be gluten-free. I usually buy whole wheat or high protein or both. but for certain shapes that they only have it in plain, I get plain. So these are, I love pasta, different pasta shapes. So this is Better Goods brand, and it's this trompetti, which is like a trumpet shaped pasta, which I thought was really cool. And then this one is a Barilla heart shaped pasta that's just out for the Valentine's Day season, and I was super, super excited. I love seasonal things. So I grabbed a bunch of boxes of these. I got a dozen of the hearts and 6 of the trumpets. Now, if you are limited on space, then you're going to want to stick with something like spaghetti or maybe orzo, pastas that are going to be a lot more compact for a pound of pasta. But if you have room to store, like I have a cellar, I can store my extra pasta in. I love to have different shapes. I do have one more bunch of pasta that I got. So these are snowflake pastas. These are Barilla, so they weren't super cheap. I think they're probably over $2 a box, but I do love seasonal things, and I love these snowflake shaped pastas. I got a bunch of these last year, and I still have some left. Don't remember if they went on clearance. I'm not sure that these did. I do have some left, but I saw them again this year, and so I wanted to buy some more and replace whatever we used from last year. And then, of course, I've got some basic paper supplies that we are always restocking. I've got toilet paper. This is the big mega pack from Great Value from Walmart, which I think is the best toilet paper deal I can find. And I've got some paper towels. I've got some sparkle ones that usually ends up being a pretty good deal. And then I have just Great Value, which was also a good deal. A lot of the times I find the Great Value items like these end up being even a better deal than a lot of like the Sam's Club, Costco warehouse stores. But you definitely want to make sure you have as much of your paper products on hand as you can, because obviously toilet paper is a no-brainer. We all know why we need to have that. But things like paper towels, paper plates, disposable silverware, even if you don't use those things normally, in an emergency when you don't have running water, you don't have hot water, you don't have ways to clean things, it's harder to do dishes, it's harder to do laundry. Even if you have, a way that you have for that, you're going to want to have some disposables, just to make life easier on yourself. Even if it's just a power outage for, 2 days or a week, you're not going to want to have piles and piles of dirty dishes and laundry at the end of it. We restock our toilet paper all the time because it's kind of a non-negotiable. Everybody uses it every day. But paper towels, I don't buy as often because I try not to use them that often because it just seems wasteful. It seems like throwing money away. If we can use a washable hand towel or washable rags for cleaning and things, we do. So we don't go through paper towels that quickly, but I don't let us run too low on them. I like to make sure we have a good supply. Now let's try out some of these new items and I will give you my reviews. I'm going to start by using my brand new can opener to open up these number 10 cans of freeze-dried meat so we can give these a taste. It's got a nice rubbery grip. I like that. I'm going to go ahead and open this can of ground beef. Oh, wow. This is amazing. Like, I cannot open these cans this easily with my, wow, that was amazing. So here are the meats that I just opened with my fancy can opener. So we've got the hamburg, the sausage, and the diced chicken. So if you're not familiar with freeze-dried meats, here's the hamburg up close. It's just little crumbles of hamburg. This is all fully cooked. These meats are all fully cooked. You can get uncooked raw freeze-dried meats. These are all fully cooked. So you can even eat them just like this. I actually really enjoy eating hamburg and sausage dry. That's the hamburg. Here is the sausage. These are the sausage crumbles. This is super tasty. That's good. I like that flavor. It's a pretty mild flavor. And what I like about this is for anyone who's familiar with Thrive Life products, this is pretty similar to Thrive Life's hamburg and sausage. It is coming from the same facility, the same freeze dryer. What I like about the mildness of this sausage is that it's very versatile. So recipes for me are usually I would use Italian sausage or breakfast sausage, 2 very different things. Because this is so mild, it's not really strongly flavored one way or the other. I can use this in many different recipes, and I just use some extra sausage seasoning of the flavor that I want to go for, the flavor profile I want. Or sometimes I'll use something like fennel seed for Italian or sage for breakfast, sausage. Those are the kind of flavors that I think kind of define one or the other. So this is the sausage crumbles. Super, super yummy. And then here's the chicken. So you can see these are diced pieces of chicken. There's a variety of sizes. Some of them are bigger, some of them are smaller. But it's all pretty well diced up, you can see. So this would be good in a lot of different recipes. You can always break it smaller if you need it smaller, or mash it once it's rehydrated or refreshed. I think I will put a little bit of hot water. I've got my kettle on. I'm going to put a little bit of hot water on these and just show you how they come back. With the hamburger and the sausage, you know, you're not going to see a lot of difference. You just would notice it was softer and spongier, just like fresh, you know, cooked sausage. But with the chicken, I should be able to kind of, you know, show you a little bit better what happens when the water's added. So I'm going to do that real quick. All right, I've got my kettle on because I need hot water to test the chicken and lots of other items that I'm testing today, which is very emergency friendly. So while I'm waiting, I'm going to try out one of these new protein bars. One bar has 20 grams of protein and 2 grams of fiber, and it's pretty low in net carbs, which I like. So here's the bar. I'm just going to cut it into pieces so that we can let a few people in the house try this. So here it is, the cookies and cream. All right, so I've got my protein bar and I'm going to give this a try. That's good. That's going to be a dangerous treat for me. It's got a little bit of crispiness from like the cookie crumble, whole cookies and cream idea, but it's really more chewy. It's more like a nougaty kind of bar, but it's really tasty. And I think I could definitely be satisfied with like a half of a bar at a time, which is always a plus. It's not overly sweet, which I like because I don't like things too sweet. And I would rather have something be less sweet than have like that artificial sweetness flavor that I just don't really always like. It's kind of like an empty flavor. So this is good. It's like not too sweet, but it's good. This is another thing with your freeze-dried food in cans. If you store it in the can after you open it, because freeze-dried food, these meats have a shelf life of 25 to 30 years when they're in the can. Once they're open, you bring that shelf life down, but you still have usually at least a year or so to use these up. They can sit on your shelf for that long. And that's why freeze-dried foods are great for so many things besides prepping, because if you're in a long-term emergency, you're not going to have a fridge to store your stuff in. So you just use what you need, store it at room temperature. It's perfect. But it's even good for small families, single people, because you can use just what you need and the rest of it can stay on the shelf until you need it. If I buy a pound of chicken breasts, number one, I'm going to pay more for that pound than I did if I bought like a big bulk pack. I'd pay more per pound, but I need to use that up or it's going to go bad. So if you're a single person or a small family and you don't use that much meat, that sometimes isn't the best way to go. You have to, you know, use it up or you have to freeze it, which is going to take freezer space, take, you know, energy, electricity, power. So with something like this, if you need a half a cup of chicken, use a half a cup of chicken. If you need a cup, use a cup, whatever. If you need a few pieces, if you need a little handful to put on top of your salad, that's what you use. And that's the rest of it is going to be fine. So that's one of the great benefits of freeze-dried food, besides the fact that it has a really, really superiorly long shelf life and it maintains all the nutrition of the fresh food. So I'm just going to put a few pieces of chicken into my little prep bowl here. And I've got some boiling water in my kettle. With meats, using hot or boiling water usually helps them to come back more quickly than cold. With vegetables and things, you can use cold water, but I'm going to cover them up. Now some people will do this with broth because then you can put even more flavor into this chicken, but it's not necessary because the freeze drying process does not take anything out except for the water. The only thing removed is the water. So the original flavor of this chicken is all still in here. Now this chicken in particular the ingredients are only chicken. There is no salt added to this particular chicken. Some freeze-dried chickens will have salt added. So what's good about this is that for somebody who likes salt and can have salt, they can add it. But for somebody who can't have salt for whatever reason, this is going to be fine for them too. It's very low in sodium and it's just the sodium that is naturally in the chicken. But this really just has to sit for just a few minutes and then I'll show you what it looks like when it's come back to life. All right, here's our chicken. It's been not even 5 minutes, I don't think. And this is definitely getting tender. So I will show you. There you can see how that just comes apart and shreds just like regular chicken breast. And let me go ahead and try this. It's chicken. Like I said, this one has no salt. So it's just like plain chicken if you didn't season your chicken at all. And it is chicken breast. So it's not a fatty meat. So as far as eating dry or eating plain, I prefer the hamburger and the sausage because those have salt. The sausage has some seasoning and they have a little bit more fat in them. But this is just a plain lean chicken breast with no salt and very little fat. But this works out great in recipes. You do not have to refresh it like this before you put it in recipes. A lot of times I will just throw it in, maybe a little bit of extra liquid if your recipe has some liquid. If not, you can do something like this ahead of time. And you can even use the juice that it's soaked in your recipe. That's like a broth. So this is basically what it's like using freeze-dried chicken. Next, I want to try some of these Uncle Ben's rice cups. I've got the jasmine rice, I've got the roasted chicken, the Spanish rice, and the fried rice. I don't know if I need to try them all. Definitely want to try the Spanish rice and the fried rice. Now you can see it does give microwave instructions here on the side, but I have had pretty good luck usually just pouring boiling water into cups like these. And that's how you would need to do it in an emergency. You probably wouldn't have a microwave that you would be running off of your generator or something like that. I mean, yes, you might, but you're going to assume you're not going to have a microwave. So you would heat your water on your butane stove or candles, whatever you have to heat your water. So I'm going to go ahead and take the lids off. And this is the Spanish rice right here. You can see it's got some seasonings in it. This is the fried rice. So it says it has peas. You can see it's got little bits of dehydrated peas in there and whatever seasonings. It does have a fill line in both of these. So I'm going to go ahead and fill it to that line with my boiling water. I'm going to go ahead and give each one a stir just to get them fully moistened. This smells good. And I'm just going to go ahead and set these lids back on top. While these set, I'll probably put something on top of them to keep these down. And I'm going to let them set for probably 5 to 10 minutes. See, 5 minutes has passed. This is our Spanish rice. That has soaked up quite a bit of that liquid. I'm going to let it set just a little bit longer to get the rest of the liquid soaked up, hopefully. As you can see, there's a good amount of flavor in that liquid. So stirred, I'm going to give it 5 more minutes. And same with our fried rice. It needs a little bit more time. Kind of gone rogue here. I'm not following the instructions since it says to microwave it, so I'm on my own with time. But I do know when I make my own little instant meals like this, usually it does have to sit at least 10 or even 15 minutes. I just thought I'd check this after 5. All right, so it has now been an extra 5 minutes. Let's see how these are looking. Okay, so this is looking a lot better. There's a tiny amount of water down bottom, but not much at all. Now, I think if I gave this another 5 minutes, any last bit of water that's remaining down there would be absorbed, but I also think that the rice is tender and this is probably ready to eat, so I'm going to give it a try. I'm going to check on the other one. Now, also keeping this cover off, and I was a little bit, went slightly under the line. I think I was just a little bit slight on the water, not a lot, but I do know that sometimes it can be too much. There's a little bit more left in this one than there is in the other one. So I'll try this one second because I don't really think they need to sit much longer, and it'll be fine if there's a little bit of extra moisture, but also sitting here with the lid off will help any remaining moisture absorb and evaporate. All right, so I am going to give this Spanish rice a try. It's a pretty generous amount of rice in here. I think this would be great for a side dish, or even throw a little bit of, freeze-dried chicken and have a meal. The rice is tender. This is good. It's not super, super flavorful, but it's got flavor. It's definitely got flavor. It's just not like really, really strong, not really salty, which is probably good for a lot of people. This is definitely okay. I'm going to let Mr. Wicked Prepare try it. He is a big fan of rice, so we'll see what he thinks. Now I'm going to go ahead and try the fried rice flavored one. I want to get some of the peas because I want to see if they got tender in that short amount of time. Peas are tender, rice is tender. This one is not super flavorful. Probably less flavorful than the other one. It's not bad. It's not my favorite. And it left a weird, like greasy texture on the spoon for some reason that I didn't see even before I ate it, just from stirring it. It left kind of a weird greasy film on the spoon. And the flavor in this one is not amazing. It's not terrible. Definitely, it's better than eating plain rice, probably. But this is where you can doctor things like these. You could add extra vegetables. You could add some extra freeze-dried meat, for instance, right in there. Have a chicken fried rice or a Mexican chicken and rice. So that is another option as well. Definitely better having a little bit of extra protein in there. But I would say this one is pretty good. This one is not really my favorite. Now it kind of makes me want to try this one and see how this one is. Reporting back from Mr. Wicked Prepared, who tried those 2 rices, he thought they were both okay. He, like I, thought they were not overly salty. He wished that the fried rice was a little bit more like Chinese food, but he thought it wasn't bad. He liked it better than I did. But he also got that same kind of greasy, textury thing at the end. But I decided I had to try the chicken and herbs one to see if this one, how this one is. So I got this one ready. I'm going to give it a stir. See, this one I probably let set a little bit longer. I was, once again, a little bit scant on the water. Probably let it set a little longer because I was doing other things. And there is no water left in the bottom of this one. So I think just a little bit light on the water and let it set for maybe 15 minutes instead of 10. And it's golden. So this is the chicken with herbs. It's pretty good. This one tastes pretty good. Once again, not overly salty, not overly flavorful. Although, as I have another bite or two, I might be getting a little bit of a bitter aftertaste. I don't know why that would be. I wonder if it's just me. I am going to take this down and let Mr. Wicked Prepared try it and see what he thinks. See if that's just me. Because my first instinct was this is pretty good. And then I got kind of almost like a little bit of a bitter aftertaste on it. All right, reporting back from Mr. Wicked Prepared on that one, the chicken herb rice. He likes it. He does not taste a bitter aftertaste. He said he actually maybe likes it better than the Spanish rice. So maybe the bitter aftertaste thing was just me. So that one was probably a win. The Spanish rice was a win. The fried rice, eh. And then the only other one is the jasmine rice, which is just plain. So I don't think we need to taste that. It'll just be, so if you need plain rice and you just need 1 serving and you need it fast, there you go. Next, I'm going to try all of these flavors of ramen noodle cups, just because I love things that are different variations on classics. I guess you could call a cup of noodles a classic. I honestly would. So I'm going to try all of these 3 flavors. Now, interestingly enough, these actually give microwave instructions also, which I have never done a noodle cup in a microwave, really. I mostly always do it with hot water. So we're going to do that and make it emergency friendly, and hopefully this will work. There's the garlic parmesan. It smells pretty good like garlic parmesan. Let's do the lemon pepper. That one smells interesting. I don't know if I've ever had lemon pepper wings, to be honest. So I have had garlic parmesan and buffalo wings. That smells pretty good and buffalo ranchy. So let's see how they are once they're prepared. All right, so I've got my water. The fill line is only just above the top of the noodles. So, all right, let's give these about 5 or 10 minutes and then we'll check them out. All right, let's see. It's been a little longer than 5 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and stir this. The noodles are looking pretty soft other than those ones up on the top. So we'll just stir those in and that will be better. Definitely needs a stir. It smells pretty good, actually. And I think I do see little bits of garlic in there on the sides of the cup, on the fork. Quite a bit of garlic. So this one actually smells really good. This is the garlic parmesan. This one absorbed almost all the water that was in there. The noodles do seem soft, though, once again, except for the little bit on the top, which just needs to be stirred in to get its final little bit of moisture. Smells a little bit better now that it's prepared than I thought it did when it was dry. We'll see about this one. I'm going to let these cool for just another couple of minutes, and then I'm going to give them a try. All right, time to give these ramen noodles a try. So this is the garlic parmesan. I'm going to give this one a try first. This one does smell pretty good, I've got to admit. I don't know if it will translate very well to noodles, but it smells good. I gotta try another bite. It's a little bit spicy. It's a little bit tangy. It's not terrible. It's pretty good. I don't know if it tastes quite as good as it smells. And it does have a little bit of spice. So if you're not a spice person, This one's pretty good. All right, next, the lemon pepper. This is the one that smelled the least appealing to me. Let's see how it tastes. This one actually is not too bad. It's pretty tangy. It's pretty lemony. But I am a big fan of like lemon and lime. Like my favorite regular ramen cup is lime chili shrimp. So actually, this one might be a little bit spicy too, but this one is not bad. It's definitely tangy. So if you don't like lemony tang, you may not like that, but I might like that better than the garlic parmesan one. All right, now for the buffalo ranch. And this says spicy buffalo ranch, so it's probably going to be spicy. Well, it's spicy. I mean, it's not like atomically spicy, but it's spicy. Let's try it again. It's got kind of a weird tang to it, like almost a sweetness for a second, but then it turns into a weird tanginess. This one's a little weird. I thought this one would be better. It's okay. I don't know. It's not even, I like buffalo stuff. This is spicy and a little bit weird tasting. I hate to say it, but I think my winner is this lemon pepper that I did not think I was going to like. And the Parmesan garlic is probably my second choice. That's not bad. Parmesan garlic is not bad. Interesting. Those were not the results I expected, but they're definitely different and there's definitely a lot of flavor. So if you are like, I like a lot of different flavor. I get sick of the plain old chicken. Like I'm always putting something extra in it. Some hot sauce or some truffle hot sauce or some peanut sauce or something. I like a little extra flavor. So those, if you like something a little bit different and interesting, they're all a little spicy. The buffalo one is a little bit too much for me. The other two, I can definitely eat. Now let's try out the AeroPress. All right, so it comes with a couple of accessories. And here is the AeroPress itself. And this is the bottom part of it, but it also has a small pack of filters to start with. It's just a thin paper circle that is used as a filter, or you can get a reusable like metal mesh filter, stainless steel or whatever, which is what we'll probably do. We'll probably get both and have both. So separate that. Put a paper filter in here. I do have my water coming to a boil in my kettle. Now this scan before you brew. I should probably do that. All right, so the next step is to screw this into the bottom like that with the filter. Holds it on there nicely. Got my cup. I hope this is big enough. I'm not sure how big of a cup I need. So, okay, so here's the numbers on the side. So this is going to tell you where to put the amount of water in, depending on if you're making a regular coffee or an espresso or whatever. All right, so the next step is to add the coffee. Now, we've been keeping our coffee in these, I think this is actually a powdered sugar container. It's not a coffee container, but it's what we've been keeping our coffee in. Now, this does say that it works best with a medium fine grind, and it said that if you buy your coffee already ground, it's usually more like a medium, so it's better to get a grinder and grind it yourself. So we'll probably have to play with that a little bit, but for now, I'm just going to use what we already have ground. And it says to use a slightly heaping scoop. I don't really want to heap it because I don't want too strong of a coffee. So I'm just going to go ahead and use this scoop and pour it right in there. Now for a regular coffee, I'm supposed to fill it up to the number 4 level. To the 4. I have to stir it for 10 seconds. Now put this in about half an inch, it said, to create a vacuum to keep the coffee from going all the way down. And wait 30 seconds. All right, so now it is time to push and plunge the coffee the rest of the way down. All right, let's see. Ooh, there's my coffee. It's looking pretty much like coffee. And now it says, I've got a plate here just so I don't have to go over to the garbage. It says to remove the filter cap and push the plunger the rest of the way until you hear the coffee pop out. And that's it. So that would typically be in the garbage or the compost. That would be a good thing to put in the compost. And then I think I would just go rinse this off. Maybe rinse this off and rinse my little stirring utensil, and that's it. So that is a super, super emergency friendly way to make a cup of coffee, as long as you have a way to boil water. So I used my electric kettle today, but in an emergency, I would just boil water on my butane stove. It would just take a minute or two and I'd be ready to go. Now I'm just going to add a little bit of milk for my tastes and give this a try. Ah, that's actually really, really good. That's good. It's smooth. It's not bitter. That's supposed to be one of the benefits of using that machine, or that device, I guess. Not really a machine. And it's small and compact, easy to store, great for power outages. Can take the place of your coffee maker, make a cup at a time. Makes some pretty good coffee. Good. And finally, I just want to taste test a couple of these new vegetables. Now, I know, thinking about this, like hot honey, for instance, this to me seems like it would be a glaze, but obviously a canned vegetable, I'm assuming, must be in liquid. So I don't know how much the flavor is going to be on the vegetables. I really hope these are pretty good, because it just sounds like something different. Now, this one says to heat and drain, but this one right here says to heat and boil until almost no liquid remains, which sounds like you would be kind of turning the liquid into a glaze. I was just going to try to warm these in the microwave, but I guess I'll do this one in a pan like it says. And I was thinking of trying this one as a fried sausage and potatoes dish. So here's what the carrots look like inside, the hot honey carrots. And here are the teriyaki green beans. And then these are the Cajun potatoes. So the potatoes also has some instructions that say if you want it spicy, to dump it in the pan with the liquid and boil off most of the liquid, because that's going to keep most of the flavoring in. Whereas if you drain it first, I think most of the flavor goes with the potatoes. So let's see what we're going to do here. Well, I've got my pan, and I'm going to start with the green beans because this seems like the easiest. I'm just going to go ahead, dump those in. I got a wide, shallow pan because I think that will help the liquid to reduce and evaporate off more quickly. Now, I hesitate. I know there are people who cook their canned green beans like this, boiling them with some different ingredients. I hesitate to boil canned vegetables for a longer period of time like this, just because I feel like they're already mushy to start with. And then you're going to be boiling them and probably making them more mushy. But this is really probably the only way to do this, unless we just put the pan, the sauce in the pan, the liquid in the pan, and boiled that down and then added the green beans for the remaining few minutes. That actually might have worked, but I just thought of it now. So we'll just try it this way and see how it comes out. It does smell really good. All right, now we are getting down to the final bit of liquid. So we've really concentrated down that flavor instead of draining it off. So I can see why it calls for that. I'm going to let this go just a couple more minutes and then put it into a serving bowl. All right, here's the teriyaki green beans. All right, now, even though it does not say to do that same process with the carrots, I think I'm going to try it and see if I can't get the sauce with the carrots, or the liquid, to reduce down into kind of like a glaze. Now, with the carrots, it does just say to warm them and then drain them. So if it looks like they're going to get too mushy or something is not going to be right, then I can stop it at any time and just drain out the rest of the liquid. So I'm going to give it a shot. I did just taste a little bit of the liquid, and it is sweet, but it doesn't taste very spicy. So it doesn't necessarily have much of a hot honey right now. So we'll see how it is when it reduces. But this is probably something where you could always drizzle on some more hot honey afterwards if you really like that flavor. But they're at least going to be kind of a sweet glazed carrot, I think. They did get a little bit mushy, but it also really cooked down into a nice glaze. So I'm going to put these into a serving dish, and we're going to see how they came out. All right, so I've got the teriyaki green beans and the hot honey carrots on my plate. I'm going to give them a try. Let's start with the green beans. Those are pretty tasty. They have a good amount of flavor. I can really taste like a ginger flavor, almost like a fresh ginger flavor. Those are really good. They would make a really good side dish to any kind of sort of Asian themed meal. I'm thinking of some meal in a bag ideas that I could do with these. Lots of possibilities. So now let's try the hot honey carrots. These do have a nice sweetness to them. They did glaze down nicely. And now that they're reduced, I do taste that little bit of heat. There's a little bit of heat. I couldn't taste that when I was just tasting the liquid. So I am glad that I reduced these down, even though it made them a slightly mushy. I think it came out really good. And to be honest, I don't usually like canned carrots at all. Like plain canned carrots are not my favorite. But these actually are pretty good. That little hot honey variation on them made this into a nice side dish if you take the time to cook it like this, I think. All right, for the Cajun potatoes, I have a can of Treat, which is basically kind of like Spam. And I'm gonna just open this up and dice it up. I've done this before with regular canned potatoes, and it's a really, really delicious pantry meal. I usually use 1 can of the Spam or meat and then 2 cans of potatoes. So just to try it with 1 can of potatoes, I think I'll use half of this can and just fry it up. Now I do want to include the liquid from the potatoes to give all the flavor. So I'll probably fry the meat first and then remove it, put the potatoes in, boil the liquid out, and go from there. So I've got half of my Treat cubed up. I am going to just pour a little bit of oil in this pan to get started. Go ahead and get my meat frying. All right, so it doesn't take long at all for those meat cubes to brown up. So I'm going to go ahead and remove these onto a plate. Now, if I wasn't trying to keep the seasonings from the potato liquid, I would have just drained the potatoes and put them in the pan at the same time as the meat. I have done that before. Works great. It's an amazing meal. But this time we're going to do this extra step. I'm going to leave any of that fat still in there. I'm going to go ahead and dump in my potatoes. I should have mentioned these cans do say to shake before opening because some of the seasoning can go down to the bottom. So now I'm just going to turn the heat way up and just boil away pretty much all of this liquid. All right, it is hard to see through the steam, but this liquid is just about gone. It is reducing nicely and just kind of leaving a nice glaze on the potatoes. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and add my meat back in and just give this a final kind of little toss and fry, and it'll be ready to eat. All right, I am ready to try this Cajun sausage and potatoes, I guess is what we're going to call it. It's very tasty. It's definitely got some seasoning. I'm trying to see how spicy it is. It hasn't really hit me yet. It's well seasoned, but it's not very spicy, so I'm not honestly sure how much of a difference it made doing the potatoes that way versus draining them. I'm not sure if they would have been just as flavorful maybe if they had been drained, but this is definitely a tasty dinner. And basically 2 ingredients plus oil. Probably could get away without the oil because the meat has some of its own fat. So this is a really good, super simple, comforting pantry meal. And I do think the Cajun potatoes are nice. They're definitely more flavorful than your basic plain canned potato. They're just not super spicy. They're flavorful, but not spicy, which is good because they can appeal to more people. So I would say this is definitely a win. I hope you enjoyed this haul and got some tips, some ideas, or at least some motivation, because it's more important now than ever to stay prepared and vigilant, to prepare a little each week and a little more each month while the things we need are readily available. If we wait until trouble's knocking on our door, there's a good chance that we're not going to get what we need because everyone else is going to be after it as well. Just look at what's going on right now. It kind of illustrates it on a small scale. We've got a strong winter storm approaching much of the country. By the time you see this, probably it will actually be hitting or have already hit and passed. But what's all over the news and everyone's social media feed right now? It's all the empty shelves and the long lines. This is exactly what we want to avoid. When it comes to preparedness, slow and steady wins the race. So take a look at your budget, take a look at the space you have available, and make a plan. What will you eat? How will you cook it? How will you clean up and take care of waste? And so on and so forth. We have lots of resources here on the channel to help you out, so make sure that you're subscribed and take a look around. If you made it all the way to the end of the video, leave me a teapot emoji down in the comments and check out this video next for some more great prepping tips. I'm Jara with Wicked Prepared. Survive today, thrive tomorrow. We'll see you next time.